welcome back to our 2-Minute Tuesdays with Trish and Pastor Dave.
Yay! 2-minute 2. A little bit of Christmas. We're
Yeah, we're
sneaking
getting
in.
ready for Christmas
it's Thanksgiving
time.
this week, and then next week. You know
Yes.
what? I have a confession to make. I've been listening to holiday music for a little while. Now, I don't like overdose on it like I do in December, but just little sneaking little happy songs.
You
and
know,
stuff.
that's fair. Me too, though.
I have satellite radio in my car, so it's like I turn it to the holiday channel.
Well, actually, when I was in Japan, November 1st, they're just like, boom,
Yeah.
Christmas music.
They do
like
that
anywhere
here
we
now.
went. Yep, I'm just like, okay, all right.
Yeah,
It's
two
just
whole
about the
months
same
of
like
Christmas.
here.
It's a little much for me like that soon because
Yeah.
I get tired of it. Well, I
Yeah.
don't get tired of it, but it's just like it's too far to Christmas.
Right.
Like I don't want to hear Frosty and stuff like that.
I
I'm
don't
going
need to
like,
hear that for
it's
the 19th
60
millionth
days.
time.
Yeah, that's it.
All right,
right.
today's question.
Non-Christmas question.
Non-Christmas. I don't know. We'll see.
Christmas.
Okay. You guys talked. I don't know where this is going,
What?
but
Okay.
You guys talked about marriage, but neither
Oh.
one of you are married.
That's twice.
Right?
Two times. Yeah.
See why I stopped there?
Okay.
Okay.
There's got to be more of a point to this, or we wouldn't have it.
We'll
right?
see. Okay. Which means
Which means what? We're ugly, we're old, what does it mean? We're undateable? Yes, I'm chronically undateable. I'm a pastor, right? Slightly balding, even though so cute. You're right, I'm pretty much undateable. Thanks, whoever you are. What's the name on
Okay,
that? Brian.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
I don't
Thanks
even
for
wanna
reminding me,
read
Brian.
the rest of this
Now I'm
question.
sad. It's a 2-minute,
Okay.
this is a 2-hour Tuesday.
okay. Here we go. Which means you're dating and finding people, right? So
Well, I mean,
still-
that's a big assumption, Brian. Thank you, Brian, for reminding me, Brian, how hard it is to find people, Brian. If you're married, Brian, you should be ashamed of yourself. Brian's all at home coupled up going, hey, you look a nice house.
probably with a couple
Hey, Trish and
kids."
Dave, you suck, huh? Your lives are sad, huh? This question is going
He
like
just,
up
yeah,
and
he keeps
downhill.
going, right? Okay.
Okay.
What qualities do you look for in a relationship or that special someone, and how does faith fit in there? Would you ever date someone who is outside the faith?
Well, that's the point, huh,
Brian.
Brian? I'm not sure I followed the whole thread of that because you derailed us, Brian. But, all right, Brian.
Brian. Do you want to
So how's cribbage going, Trish? Do you like cribbage? I
love
still like
cribbage.
cribbage.
I still love
We should play
cribbage.
cribbage sometime.
Cribbage is,
We should just bag this and just play cribbage for this whole 2-minute Tuesday, Brian.
Brian.
Brian. All right.
Brian.
Here, Brian. First of all, not finding anyone, Brian. Bite me. It's Thanksgiving. It's the holidays.
Way to make us feel sadder.
Sad. Yes, exactly, Brian. I'm going to eat extra stuffing because of you, Brian. All right. Let's answer this stupid question so we can get on.
How much more food do we have from Thanksgiving?
I mean, we have a lot coming up. We're cooking a lot of food. Trish and Dave under the stairs with bowls of stuffing and mashed potatoes. Extra butter, please. Which makes it correspondingly harder, Brian.
Why would you throw us under the bus like that,
Brian.
Brian?
Well, Santa brings you coal. All right.
Can we just like close up this
2
video?
minutes of complaining about Brian's. All right, so look, let's try to answer this honestly. What do I look for? Look, faith does kind of determine that because it changes your lens a little bit. I think
Yeah.
that I used to think different things were important, like compatibility, which is sort of important. Nothing is unimportant, right?
Yeah.
Compatibility, looks, all that stuff. Yes, those matter, but they're kind of secondary. They're kind of like, yeah, that also has to be there the same way there needs to be wheels on a car.
Yeah,
But there's
right.
not the engine,
Yeah.
right? The engine, compassion, this feeling of, I think, I don't want to say optimism, but at least hope, perseverance, the ability to stick with things even when they're hard. Those are really important. The ability to communicate and communicate honestly and openly. Oh my gosh. So right there, if you have those things, then you can work with a lot of different tires, right?
Yes.
I don't even ask anymore like what your hobbies are or, you know, what you look like or whatever it is. Like I can work with a lot of things there, but those basic core, you know, the compassion, the hopefulness, the communication, I think that really matters. How about you?
Yeah, all the things you just said really do matter. I don't know, like I've dated faithful people and non-faith related people. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that
There's so many qualities that you also have to look for. Like, are they even a good person in the first place?
and not everyone who says they're a faithful person is the same way not every guy who says I'm a nice guy is, right? In fact, it's often a sign that they're not, right? I'm super faithful and I'm blah, 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 blah. That to me is actually kind of a red flag, especially if you're leading with that, Brian. But here's the thing, is like it should show through, right? You should like niceness or whatever it is. That should show through in your everyday action, how you treat people, how you relate. And in that way, in that vein, I would also say, yes, of course, that I would date someone who didn't have faith like overtly stated, because I believe that God is with all of us and God's faith shows through us in different ways, not all of which are churchy.
Right.
Some churchy ways of showing faith I find repugnant. It's very, throw your hands up for Jesus and come forward if you really believe like I do, otherwise you suck. Okay, no, I'm not gonna want to date a person like that the same way I wouldn't want to go to that kind of church. Like unless you're like me, you don't belong, there's a good basis for a relationship.
Yeah,
But also someone who hasn't learned faith or has rejected faith because of what they found in church or whatever and wasn't good, but still lived compassionately and did all those other things, I would be able to find faith in that myself, even if they didn't, and that might be a great relationship for all I know. I would not reject someone just because they didn't overtly profess faith or accept someone because they overtly did.
Yes. All right. Wow, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. Took more than 2 minutes, Brian, because we had to complain about you for 2 minutes. Now,
this video is going to be too long.
I wonder if there'll be a lot of eggnog at that Thanksgiving now.
With something in it.
A little bit of eggnog and the rest of the something. Brian!
Brian! Okay.
If we show up next week with a headache, it's because of you, Brian.
All right, Brian.
If you want to not be like Brian and send us a question that actually doesn't send us spiraling, you can email me at
pastor@sov-id.org.
And you can also find us online at SOV Boise and on our YouTube channel at SOV Boise. Same thing.
We're all
Funny
flipped
how
around
that
now.
works, Brian. Unlike this question,
Brian.
We'll see you next week, Brian.